Okay, so this happened a couple of years ago, and I don't know why it's still stuck in my head the way it is. It wasn't dramatic, nothing like scream in the woods horror or anything. But I don't know. It got to me in this weird, slow way. It started off normal. Just a weekend hike with friends. Me, Jordan, Eli, and Sam. We found this trail no one had been on before. Forest, switchbacks, barely any signage, no reception. Which, was the point, you know? Disconnect, clear our heads, be outside for once. And yeah, it was peaceful, quiet in that way where you can hear your own thoughts again. But then, at the trailhead, there was this guy, black hoodie, big camera, like one of those DSLR things, maybe something fancier. He was just kind of standing there, off to the side, pointing into the trees. We thought maybe he was doing wildlife stuff. Or, I don't know, just a loner filming the breeze. Didn't think much of it. But then, we saw him again. And again. First day, then second. Every time, not super close, but just close enough to clock him. Same hoodie. Same camera. Never said anything. Never waved. Just there. Anyway, on the second night, we'd set up camp, right? Fire's going. We were passing around trail mix, laughing about something Eli said. I don't even remember what now. And then, I saw him, standing in the trees, like barely visible. But there, same guy, just watching. He wasn't holding the camera up to his face, but it was in his hands, like he was thinking about filming, or had just stopped. And my stomach just, dropped, like it knew something before I did. Jordan stood up fast, like instinct level fast, and yelled, "Hey, you good, man?" And the guy didn't even flinch, just kind of stepped backward into the trees. No sound, no explanation, just gone. We didn't sleep much that night. Every sound felt like it was on us. Every twig snap made us all freeze like deer. I kept telling myself it was nothing, just some weirdo hiker, just a dude. But then he showed up again. Next morning, we're packing up, trying to keep it light. And he's there, sitting on this boulder, maybe 30 feet off trail. Just sitting, camera in his lap, not doing anything, just watching. Again. And I just lost it. Yo, why are you filming us? You've been following us since yesterday. Nothing. Not a word. He stood up, turned, and started walking into the woods. So we followed. I don't know why. It wasn't like brave or smart or anything. We just did, quietly, off the trail, like we had to see where he was going. We thought maybe he had some creepy setup out there, like a hidden base, or I don't know. I think I was picturing plastic sheeting and tripods or something awful. But what we found was, God, it was small. Just a tarp, a torn up backpack, and this pile of photos. Like printed photos, faded and bent. They've been out there a while. I picked one up and, it was a girl, like 14 maybe, standing by a sign that said Linden Trailhead, 2007. She looked sweet, nervous smile, the kind of face you don't remember until you really stare at it. And then, we heard the snap behind us. I turned, and there he was, the guy. But this time, he didn't look creepy. He looked wrecked, hands raised a little, not like surrender, more like, don't freak out, please. And he said, she went missing here. My sister. His voice was so dry, like it cracked just getting the words out. He pointed at the photos, then the camera. I thought maybe someone up here had seen her. Then maybe she changed her look. Her name. Something. He looked at me. Looked at the camera. I filmed people's faces. Not a bee. not to be weird. I go home and compare them to old videos, old photos, hoping maybe something lines up. He paused, swallowed. I didn't mean to scare you. I just didn't know how to ask without sounding insane. None of us said anything. For a long time, I just kept looking around. The tarp, the backpack, the journal on the ground, half a granola bar, one pair of shoes. This wasn't a guy creeping around the woods for fun. This was someone who hadn't left. Not really. He was still right there, stuck in the last place he saw his sister. And we gave him some food, water. Jordan handed over his backup power bank. I left my good granola bars. Didn't feel like enough. Still doesn't. We hiked out the next day. Quiet. I don't think anyone even asked, so what now? We just walked. But I still think about him. About how easy it is to assume the worst. How someone watching you from the trees feels dangerous, but sometimes isn't. Sometimes they're just lost, searching for something that never came back. And I guess the part that really gets me is when I looked at him, like really looked, I saw something familiar. Not his face, just the weight behind it. Like he'd been holding his breath for years. And now, sometimes, when I'm out on trails alone, I think I see someone watching too. Not close, just far enough. And I don't know if it's him, or if it's just me, seeing the kind of pain I finally understand. This is gonna sound strange. I still don't really know what to make of it. Honestly, it was about 3 years ago. A weekend camping trip in Oregon. Me and two friends. Nothing big. Just a getaway, you know? No phones. No noise. We found this trail that was barely used, way off the grid. Like, we didn't pass a single other hiker once we were out there. No bars. No service. No anything. Just trees and dirt and this eerie kind of silence that starts to get under your skin after a while. That night, it was weirdly quiet. No wind, no bugs, nothing. Just this thick stillness. Like even the forest was holding its breath. We sat around the fire for a bit, then all turned in early. I remember zipping up my tent and just getting this feeling, that itchy, heavy feeling like something was watching. But it was late. I was tired. I figure it was just my brain being a brat in the dark. I wish that was all it was. The next morning, I woke up and there was a backpack sitting just outside my tent. Not one of ours. It was this old, faded green thing, stained with dirt and pine needles, like it had been dragged through the woods. At first I thought, oh, maybe someone lost it. Maybe a hiker left it by mistake. But then, I noticed something. There was this little white tag stitched in a back pocket, and on it was my full name. First, middle, last, in shaky, handwritten letters. I just sat there staring at it, like my brain wouldn't even let me move at first. No one outside my two friends even knew I was in Oregon. Hell, barely anyone even knew I went camping. I reached for the zipper, hand shaking a little, opened the main pocket. Inside were photos, old ones, faded, worn around the edges. I remember the first one I pulled out. It was me, like baby me. Hospital blanket, pink face, that puffy newborn look. Then another, me on a swing, maybe 2 years old. And then there was this photo of a woman holding me. Her face was blurred, like she moved mid-shot. But the way she held me, arms wrapped around like she belonged there, it felt familiar. But I didn't know her. At the very bottom of the bag, tucked neatly between two old shirts, was a letter. The paper was yellowed, folded like it had been opened and closed 100 times. On the front, in the same shaky handwriting. It said, "To the daughter I never got to hold." God, I didn't open it right away. I just kind of sat there with a bag in my lap. My friends came out eventually and saw me just sitting there, pale, totally still. I couldn't even speak. I just handed one of them the letter. And the first line, uh, it hit like a brick to the chest. "I don't want to scare you. I just want you to know I never stopped thinking about you." It was from my birth mother. She wrote about why she gave me up, stuff I didn't expect, abuse, fear, the kind of quiet pain that lives in the walls of houses no one talks about. She said she'd been following me online, not in a stalker way, not really, just like watching my life from a distance, quietly, for years. And she said she saw something about this trip, a post maybe, a friend tagging me, a trail name I'd mentioned once. And she followed me here. But she couldn't bring herself to speak. She was too scared I'd hate her. So she left a piece of herself in the woods, hoping I'd find it, hoping I'd understand. We looked for her, all around the site, up the trail, down by the creek. Nothing. No tracks, no footprints. Even checked the trailhead cameras later. No one matching her description. It was like she came and left without a single sound. I filed a report I don't know, just in case. But there was no threat, no crime, just someone leaving behind a memory. 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, just a note. "I won't reach out again. I just needed you to know you were always loved, even if from far away." I still have the backpack. It's in my closet, tucked in the corner. Some days I forget it's even there. Other days, it's all I can think about. Who she was, what she went through, how close she got to me, just a few feet from my tent, and how she still chose to stay in the shadows. That's the part that creeps me out. Not because I think she meant harm, but because it made me realize something I can't unsee now. People disappear into the woods all the time, but not all of them are running from something. Some are just hoping to be seen, even for a second, even by someone who doesn't remember their face. I don't know where she is now, but if she ever hears this, I want her to know I found it, and I read every word. I'm not really outdoorsy, you know? Like, camping's never been my thing. I'm more of a pizza and horror movie on the couch kind of person. But last fall, my best friend Zoe, she has this way of talking you into things. She convinced me and a couple others to go on a weekend trip near White Pines. It wasn't far from town. She made it sound cozy, I guess. Campfires, hot cocoa, stargazing, that kind of thing. And I didn't want to be that person, lame or whatever. So, yeah, I went. There were four of us: me, Zoe, her boyfriend Jordan, and his cousin Nate. We found this quiet clearing surrounded by pines, kind of tucked away from the trail. Private, peaceful. It actually started out kind of nice. That first night was cold but calm. We roasted marshmallows, told dumb ghost stories, bad ones, and just laughed. I remember thinking, okay, maybe this won't suck. But the second morning is when it started feeling off. I woke up in the tent flap. Ours was open, like fully unzipped. Not a breeze did this kind of thing. I mean, wide open. Zoe was still asleep next to me, and nothing was missing. My bag was where I left it, phone still inside. Even my granola bar wrappers were untouched. No footprints, no drag marks, no animal scratches. Just open. Weird, right? We brushed it off at first. Made jokes. Maybe Jordan came in to grab something. Or Nate wandered into the wrong tent, half asleep to pee. It happens. Still, that night we were more careful. We zipped everything all the way out. Zoe even found this tiny luggage lock in her bag and clipped it on as a joke. I remember saying something like, "If Bigfoot wants him tonight, he better know how to pick locks." Small laugh. Yeah, that aged well, because the next morning, it was open again. Same flap, zipper all the way down. But this time the lock, gone. Not broken, just gone. And again, nothing missing. Nothing moved. Just open. We searched the area, checked the dirt, the trees nearby. No signs of anyone. No raccoons. No torn trash. It was like nothing had touched the outside. Just a zipper. That was the moment the jokes kind of stopped. The third night, none of us really slept. I kept hearing tiny rustling sounds outside, like something small moving near the tent, crawling almost, but it never lasted long enough to actually catch it. And at one point, I swear this happened, I felt a little rush of cold air across my face, like someone had opened the flap just a little and let it fall shut again. I didn't open my eyes. I couldn't. By the next morning, we were all tense. Everyone pretending like it was fine, but it wasn't. Nate said maybe some creep was messing with us. Jordan was convinced it was just a curious animal. Me? I didn't know what to think. We agreed to pack up that afternoon. No one said it out loud, but we were done. The woods didn't feel quiet anymore. They felt watched. But while we were packing up, Zoe found something. It was God. It was just behind our tent, tucked behind this half-rotted log. A sock. A little sock. Like for a toddler. It was muddy and torn at the heel. Way too small for any of us. We all just stared at it for a second. And then we noticed the marks in the dirt. Not boot prints. Not adult. Small. Barefoot. Nate followed the trail a bit, just kind of scanning ahead. And that's when we saw him. A kid, maybe 6 years old. No shoes. Standing between two trees, just watching us. He didn't run. Didn't smile. Just stood there. Eyes wide and glassy. I don't know how else to describe it. Like he hadn't blinked in hours. Zoe stepped forward and called out, "Hey, are you lost?" He didn't answer. His lips were shaking, like he wanted to say something, but couldn't get it out. Jordan tried too. "Where are your parents, buddy?" Still nothing. Eventually we coaxed him over, real slow. Got him to sit near the fire pit. He didn't speak. He didn't cry. Just kept glancing at her tent, like he was waiting for something. I don't even know why I asked it, but it just came out. "Were you coming into our tent at night?" He nodded. Once. Slow. And then he pointed at Zoe and said, "God." It still echoes in my head. He said, "Mommy told me to come here if I get cold. She said you keep me warm." I felt the blood drain out of my face. Zoe just froze. She kept whispering, "I don't have a kid. I don't have a kid." But the boy wasn't confused. He didn't seem scared. Just tired. Like that was the most normal thing in the world. We called the Rangers. Turns out, a child matching his description had been reported missing 2 months ago from a town over 30 miles away. They were stunned he was alive. No coat, no food, barefoot, and somehow he'd survived. His mom, she died on that camping trip. Got sick. No one found them. And he'd been wandering the woods alone ever since. Hiding. Scared. Looking for warmth, I guess. And somehow, he found us. Slipped into our tent while we slept. Because in his mind, we were safe. We were what his mother promised. We don't talk about that trip anymore. But every time I zip up a tent now, or even close my bedroom door, I check. Twice. Because sometimes it's not monsters in the woods. It's not evil. It's just something lost. And it's cold. and it's scared, and it's trying to find its way home.